I'm here with Fletcher Sheridan, a singer extraordinaire, a good friend of mine, and somebody who I met about 15, somewhere years ago, in a class called a sightseeing class that was taught by Stan Farber. And we were both in there to practice our skills and get better at what we were doing and trying to get in the business. Fletcher was already in the business at that time, and I had just moved to LA to see what it was all about. And I sat in this class coming from a classical background thinking I was probably really good, and then I sat next to Fletcher and realized I had a little work to do.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, I wanted to bring Fletcher to you so that you get to see from a younger perspective what's going on in the business. And I would have to say that you, Fletcher, are probably one of the youngest people I know that's had the success you've had and the resume you've had. So I want you to talk a little bit about how did you get here, where did you grow up? Let's just start there.
Okay. I actually grew up out here in the valley, born and raised valley boy, and I am proud of it.
Yay, Valley.
Yeah. I actually spent the first half of my life embarrassed I could sing. It wasn't something that guys did, I was horrible at sports. I tried playing baseball and that was dead.
I've been there too.
But French horn, that was cool. I decided that was okay. So I got into French horn in junior high. Of course, by the way, I got into French horn in junior high, but of course I've been singing since before I could speak. So of course I've been singing, I just didn't tell anyone about it. My mom would try and get me to sing for guests, and I, of course, wouldn't have it.
Right.
But,
so guys didn't, it wasn't the guy thing to do, to sing, really?
Not, at least in my mind. Of course I'd been doing musicals as a kid and doing all these extracurricular musical things, but that was extracurricular. When I got to school, no one knew about it.
Right.
And not to say that was, like, there was any climate at the time that made me feel that way. It was just some sort of stigma I put on it, But junior high with French horn, that was kind of like the beginning of the epiphany. And then I got to a performing arts high school. I went to Hamilton Academy of Music in Culver City, and that was a revelation, being around other musical kids, and also it was cool to sing there. So I took to it very quickly, embraced it. Anything I could get my hands on, madrigals, concert choir, vocal jazz, the musicals, barbershop.
Right.
I became I was hungry for it. Everything I could get my hands on, experience-wise. And a couple of years into that, I started doing session work. My mom was a songwriter in town, so she knew a lot of singers, and they knew I could sing. And one of them referred me to one of the major contractors.
Now, how old were you at that point?
I was 15, 16, somewhere around there.
Did you know this work existed? I mean, obviously your mom was in the business, but did you know that what we do exists?
I didn't really, I didn't. I mean, I knew of my mom's friends that they were singers, but in terms of the niche of work that we do, I didn't have a clue. I probably didn't care, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life until that first session that I got caught in on. And it was back when they recorded the orchestra and the choir at the same time.
Wow.
So, a couple hundred people in a giant scoring stage with the movie playing, and, I'm 15, 16, just like, what? Completely blown away.
Right.
And that was kind of the moment that everything snapped to, and everything took focus. Like, I was like, I have to do this.
Now were you still playing French horn at the time?
Oh, I had stopped. Once it was okay to sing, French horn slowly faded out.
But you play piano.
I play a little piano. I wouldn't pay me to play piano, but I certainly I know theory. I went to college, got my degree in music industry, took all the theory classes, all the harmony classes, everything, jazz arranging, everything again, like I could get my hands on. I've always wanted. That's kind of been my thing. I've almost been obsessed with going beyond, just pushing the envelope and
Right.
and stress testing what I've got and expanding what I've got. Oh yeah, you know, just not satisfied with the gift. You know, I accept that I was given a gift. You know, of singing and hearing. You know, and I know I went to school with so many talented people. You know, they all of them were amazing, but.
Was this school sort of like Fame?
It kind of was. Actually, like, that was, like, they were the Fame of the West Coast.
I'm gonna live.
Exactly. Only we never sang that song.
Oh,
yeah. You know, I went to school with so many talented people, and so many of them were just resting on their laurels. Just, well, I'm naturally gifted, and I'm just gonna phone it in, and that's good enough.
Wow, and how many? There's so many people out there that do that. That just think, oh, I'm the best in my town.
Oh yeah.
They move to LA and they think they're so good, and realize that there's thousands of fantastic.
Like, everyone's good.
Right.
Good for you. You're great. Awesome. Now here's a whole sea of people that are as good and better than you. You know, I mean,
right.
You can't hold that. You know, you can't say I want to be the best, because that's impossible. And you're setting yourself up for a lot of hurt.
Now, you're a tenor and sing really high. I work with a lot of guys in the business that always question the falsetto. Whether I should use it, whether I shouldn't. A lot of young guys that I teach that they don't want to go there because it's sort of not the manly thing. Although that has been sort of the bulk of your career. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Falsetto.
I wouldn't say the falsetto's been the bulk of your career, but
no, but
you do have the high part of your voice.
It's apparently, you know, I mean, I was in voice lessons in college, and I had become obsessed with Take 6, so I wanted to sing like the guy that sang top in Take 6.
Right.
Of course, I was in the throes of puberty, and it had decimated my. I was like a barely tenor. You know, I couldn't sing low, and I couldn't get above an E flat. It was.
You.
I know.
Above an E flat.
In the thralls of puberty, I had nothing. Like, they're like, well, what do we do with them? I guess we put them on baritone. Even though, you know, my lower end, you know, I got no low end. I'm no good below a D. It's funny, looking back.
So of course, then those notes popped in, and
well, the falsetto. Yeah, I slowly start building it out as you get out of pubertyville. But the falsetto thing, I used that through my voice change. And listening to Take 6 in the car every day driving home from school, singing along, you know, I just always used it. And, yeah, I never had a thing about that, the manly thing. It's all about, for me, it's always been about being as vocally diverse as I can be.
Right.
I mean, of course, you can't do everything. But, you know, the more range you have to work with, the better it is. You know, do I use the falsetto thing all the time? No. But it's a cool thing to have. You know, it comes in handy at times.
Right. You
want to scare a bunch of people.
Well, and you're always singing. That's something I noticed about you, is you're always using your instrument. You're always working. If you're not working, you're singing.
Yeah.
You're writing.
Always practicing. Chronic practicing, like humming along, singing in the shower, arranging and singing stuff in my home studio. Like it's like a muscle. We are vocal athletes. You know, I kind of treat it that way. You know, athletes have to train. You know, we strive to be vocal Olympians.